All right, guys, so the appointment setters that use this strategy, right, make 5 grand a month look easy. And the reason I can say that with such confidence is because I've done this myself. And this is the reason why I've managed to land roles that have been paying me 5K a month, right, continuously with this strategy. It's not a case of just land a role, all of a sudden you're making 5 grand a month. It's a bit more complex than that. And this is the system that I use to ensure that I always hit that number and I always hit that goal. Okay, and a bit of authority so you know that I know what I'm talking about. I work with people like Charlie Morgan and William Brown. I've generated close to $2 million for clients as a setter, and I've seen well over 6 figures of that in commissions for myself, okay? And this is exactly how you can become a 5K a month setter just by following this same process I'm gonna run you through here, okay? So first off, what we need to do, right, is establish our targets. Now, this is going to be decided between you and the actual offer owner you're working with. You'll have personal targets and the offer owner will have targets that he wants you to hit as kind of hygiene standards, okay? So for example, let's say the on-track earnings is 5K a month and you want to hit 5K a month, great, okay? So we're going to figure out what the cost per appointment or the cost per, like, what it takes to actually get paid is, right? For example, a hygiene standard for like a really good role where you can make 5K a month is like 50 per appointment. Now you can do commission on the sale. That's a bit more of a complex video and I can make that down the line if you want me to do that. And if you want that kind of video, just put a comment down below in the comment section and I will make it, okay? But let's just say, for example, you're being paid 50 per appointment, you want to make 5K a month, or that's 100 appointments a month that you need to book in. Now, that's a very vague thing to say and a very vague kind of idea to have. It doesn't really help you. It's like, oh, I want to make 5K a month, I want to book 100 appointments a month, but you don't know how to actually do it, okay? You need to establish the variables that make up that goal. So you need to establish what actually goes into booking 100 appointments a month, what actually goes into making that 5K a month, okay? And there are 4 main pillars that are made up of this, 4 main variables we're going to be tracking, okay? And we're going to reverse engineer to make sure that we always hit that goal of 5K or 100 appointments a month, okay? First, we've got inputs, which is the messages sent per day, okay? For example, like the KPI, right? Normally for anything, any kind of volume requirements that you see is at least 100 to 200 per day, okay? You shouldn't really be judging metrics or seeing if there's any kind of bottlenecks in your process without doing insufficient enough volume, which is 100 to 200 inputs, messages, calls per day, okay? Next is positive reply rate. The next one is calendar sent rate, okay? And the next one is appointment booking rate, okay? So the amount of people you're messaging per day, okay? The people that actually respond positively to your message, the people that actually say, cool, that sounds right up my street, I want to learn more, let me book on a call, and then the people that actually go on to book a call, okay? And what's going to happen is you're going to have conversion rates for each stage, okay? So the people that go from the messages sent stage to positive reply rate, there's going to be a conversion rate of how many people from that stage moved into the next stage, okay? And you need to track the percentage of that because there are KPIs, hygiene standard KPIs across the setting industry that you need to be hitting to see if you're actually performing within your targets, right? And also see if you are going to hit your goal at the end of the month of making 5K. Okay, it's super important. So if you're messaging 100 to 200 people per day, right, kind of minimum, at least 10 to 20 of those people, right, or even more. So like 10 people out of 100 or 20 people out of 200 or 40 people out of 200 or 20 people out of 100, you get the point, right? At least 10 to 20% of this inputs, right, of these inputs should be responding positively and asking for more information, right? And if not, there's a problem with either the offer that you're working on, which I'm very doubtful of because like if you're gonna be working on an offer that can facilitate 5 grand a month, it's clear their offer has been proven. Otherwise they wouldn't be paying setters 5K a month, okay? They wouldn't even be doing 5K a month themselves, okay? So see, the offer isn't validated, which I'm extremely doubtful of, right? It's normally like your pitch, it's normally your opener, right? Or your script, or your tonality, or because you're doing it in a voice note format or in a text-based format, and you're gonna have to change those things accordingly to hit within KPI, which I'll show you how to do in a second, okay? So 10 to 20% of the inputs you put in per day should be responding positively and asking for more information. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna send more information, right? And at least 40 to 60% of the people, right, from positive reply rate should go through to calendar sent rate, okay? Now, with these KPIs, you've got the total, right, conversion, which is from stage 1 to stage 2, and then stage 1 to stage 3, then stage 1 to stage 4, you get the point. And then we've got individual conversion. Now, the way we can diagnose bottlenecks and fix them is by tracking the individual conversion, because the total conversion, we only really need to worry about inputs to appointment booked rate, okay? That's the amount of people that actually we message first, and then they go for the entire journey to book on a call. We have the total ABR at the end, okay? I'll get into that in a second, but that is the macro KPI we need to see. But if we're going to go really intricate and diagnose exactly where our bottleneck is, we need to go for the individual stages and see the conversion rates on those, okay? So yeah, 40 to 60% of the people that respond positively and you send more information to should be asking to book in a call, right? Now, you'll have a call to action at the end of the information you send them. When you send like a VSL or something, it'll be like, hey, send me a thumbs up if that's of interest and we can book in a call and I'll run you through how it works. And then 60 to 70% of the people you actually send the calendar link to should be booking in. Those are the KPIs, those are the hygiene standards. And if you're not doing that, you've got a problem, okay? And you can see in each stage what's not working well. And the total ABR should be around 2 to 4%, okay? So 2 to 4% of the people you message per day, total, so 100 to 200 people you're messaging per day, 2 to 4% of them should be booking in a call. So let's say you're messaging 100 people per day with a 2% appointment booking rate total, right? That's 2 appointments per day, right? Now that is only $100 per day, which is like $3K a month, but your goal is 5. So what you can either do is try and adjust the variables, right? In this entire process to try and manipulate the ABR at the end. I don't recommend doing that because if you're in an ABR, right, of 2%, just increase the volume. Because if you do 200 messages per day and book 2% of those, right, that's 4 appointments per day. You're booking in double. Now that is $200 per day, which is around 6K per month. Okay, can you see the point I'm trying to make here? You can see in each stage what's working well and what's not, okay? So that's how you reverse engineer and determine exactly how you're gonna get to your 5K a month goal, okay? Now, the way that we're gonna do this is we're gonna put this in a Google Sheet or a CRM and label it stages 1 through 4. Now, a quick note, if you want that sheet that I actually used to hit my first ever 5K a month with setting, follow and DM me Sheet on Instagram at Aidan K Social. I'll leave a link down below in the description, right? Follow and DM me Sheet and I'll send over the exact sheet that I used to hit my first ever 5K a month with this, okay? But if you want to do this yourself, which you can, right? It's going to take you a bit of time, but you can, right? Put in a Google Sheet or a CRM and label it like stages 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? You're going to have it as inputs, positive reply rate, calendar sent rate, appointment booking rate, right? You get the point. You're going to log each lead in each stage, right? So stage 1, the inputs, the names of the people you're messaging, right? Stage 2, people that reply positively, copy and paste the people that actually reply positively to that stage, right? And then track the percentages of the conversions through each stage, okay? So as you can see here, we've got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, right? You're going to put the names of the people in stage 1, right? 200 per day. And then you're going to get responses throughout the day that want to hear more information. You're going to copy and paste their name into stage 2. And you're going to keep doing that for the remaining stages until they actually book in the call, right? And there's going to be a percentage, right, conversion rate on each stage that you're going to see. Again, it's a little bit hard to do that yourself on like a Google Sheet unless you kind of like, you've done it before. So if you want that sheet and just to shortcut the whole process, just follow me and DM me on Instagram and I'll just send you the same sheet that I use, right? But yeah, we're going to track the percentages of the conversions through each stage like we've done there, okay? And then we're going to ask ourselves, is this stage hitting KPI? If no, what we're going to do is change the variables by like 3%, tweak it by 3% until you hit the KPI percentage. Now, you're not always going to know exactly what the bottleneck is. So you need to isolate the variables that make up that entire stage, right? All of the components and variables that actually enable a lead to go through to the next stage and convert. You're going to label out, right? And you're going to change one variable at a time. Because if you change them all at once, you're not going to know what change actually made the difference. So for example, let's just say let's just say with the inputs, okay, you've got your opener and you have your script. Let's try with your opener first. Change that by 3%, tweak it slightly, right? If it performs worse, put it back to where it was. If it's not performing, go to the next one, change that 3%, right? And do the same process and go around in a circle until, right, you get a higher percentage on the conversion, and do that for every, I'd say 30 to 50 people, right? Do that for every 30 to 50 people you message, right? And see the results. Log it on a separate tab so you can actually see and not cross-contaminate with your initial test, okay? And change one variable at a time, because if you change them all at once and something gets fixed, you're not gonna know what fixed it, okay? And you need to know. But if you are hitting KPI, add more inputs in 100 increments and then assess the metrics after that. So let's say you are hitting a 2 to 4% ABR, right? Again, like don't try and fix it, just add more volume. If you're hitting a 2% minimum ABR on 100, do 200, do 300, do 400, right? And then see the metrics after that. It might not always stay the same. If ABR drops, right? then you can start adjusting and tweaking it, okay? But you're gonna make sure you're in KPI first, then increase the inputs. And then once you've done that, you're gonna reassess the KPIs after that and see if there's any bottlenecks that you need to fix, okay? But a quick disclaimer, if you're hitting KPI, don't try and fix it. Do it in 100 increments, see if you're still hitting KPI. If you are, don't try and fix it, just keep increasing the volume, right? Because you're gonna book more calls and make more money. If it's not hitting KPI, then do fix it, okay? But don't kind of like try and test just to see if you can book more. If you're hitting the minimum KPI, just add more volume until the KPI drops again, okay? Please do not fix something that is not broken, okay? Cool. That's pretty much it. So a quick bonus as well for you guys that stayed this far. If you would like, right, a guaranteed paying role in 60 days or less, or you're not gonna pay me a penny, there's gonna be a link down below in the description to book in a call with me, and I'll show you exactly how I can guarantee that for you. So if you're serious about making this work and you want me to hold your hand personally one-to-one to make sure you get there guaranteed, right? From somebody who still does appointment setting to this day, I'm going to leave that link to book in a call with me down below. Book it in and I'll show you how to do this properly.